Selleck is an Emmy-winning actor and Hollywood icon. From his breakout role in the 80s hit show Magnum P.I. to playing the police commissioner on the hit drama Blue Bloods.
Tom Selleck celebrated his 80th birthday on January 29, 2025, reaching a remarkable milestone in his entertainment career. And now, at 80 years old, Tom Selleck has finally broken his silence. After years of speculation and straight-up wild theories, he has decided to set the record straight once and for all. But here's the real question. What's the truth? What did Tom Selleck really confirm? And how is this going to change the way people see him forever? Stay locked in, because by the end of this, you'll be getting all the answers you need and more. Let's get into it. Tom Selleck at 80. Tom Selleck hit a major milestone, and of course he did it in his own classic low-key way. No flashy Hollywood parties, no over-the-top extravagance, just a simple day that reflected exactly who he is. A man who values the little things, like a good meal, family, and, well, a quick McDonald's run. Yes, you heard that right. The legendary actor, known for his iconic mustache and effortless charm, started his birthday celebrations with a solo trip to a McDonald's drive-thru. And honestly, isn't that kind of relatable? Who doesn't crave some good old fast food every now and then, even when they could easily have a 5-star meal prepared for them? Maybe it was a nostalgic treat, or maybe he just really wanted some fries, but either way, it was a refreshingly normal way to kick off the day. But of course, the real celebration happened later that evening when Selleck and his loved ones gathered at Tuscany Il Ristorante, an upscale Italian spot in Thousand Oaks, California. It was exactly the kind of place you'd expect a man of his stature to celebrate. Elegant, warm, and classic. And Selleck? He looked effortlessly stylish, rocking a deep red button-up shirt under a brown blazer and jacket, paired with blue jeans and some sturdy boots. Because let's be real, would it even be a Tom Selleck look without a little ruggedness? His wife of nearly 4 decades, Jilly Mack, looked just as stunning, wearing a striped brown dress with a beige jacket, sophisticated but relaxed, just like the couple themselves. Their daughter Hannah was there too, along with a few close friends, making it an intimate, meaningful gathering rather than some big Hollywood spectacle. And that's so on brand for Selleck. Keeping things real, keeping things about the people who truly matter. For decades, fans have speculated about the whispers surrounding Tom Selleck's life behind the scenes. Now, at 80, the legendary actor is finally addressing the rumors head on. And what he reveals is more shocking than anyone expected. Was Hollywood keeping secrets about him all these years? Stay tuned, because you won't want to miss this. As the evening wrapped up, the group exchanged warm hugs outside the restaurant, clearly soaking in the moment. There was no rush, no cameras flashing wildly, just family and friends standing together, sharing in the happiness of a simple but special night. And in a move that was as sweet as it was telling, Selleck was spotted holding a birthday gift while walking hand in hand with Jilly back to their car. That's the thing about him. He's never been one for showboating. Whether he's accepting a prestigious award or just enjoying a quiet dinner with loved ones, he carries himself with the same grounded, easygoing presence. These days, Selleck has settled back into life on his California ranch, which, fun fact, was once owned by the legendary Dean Martin. If that isn't a cool piece of history, I don't know what is. And it's not just a house to him, it's his sanctuary. He's put in real physical work over the years, even planting over 1,000 trees himself. Who knew Magnum P.I. had such a green thumb, right? But that's just it. Selleck has always been more than the roles he's played. He's a guy who genuinely enjoys getting his hands dirty, working the land, and finding peace in the simplicity of nature. It's the kind of life that keeps him balanced, away from the chaos of Hollywood, and firmly rooted in what truly matters. And speaking of staying balanced, the man takes his health seriously. Even after undergoing knee replacement surgery last summer, he's committed to keeping fit. His routine isn't just about hitting the gym. He mixes things up with physical therapy, weight training, swimming, and even Tai Chi. Now, when it comes to getting older, Selleck has the most down-to-earth attitude about it. He doesn't make a big deal out of birthdays, doesn't stress about numbers, he's just living his life. "I'm trying not to count," he once said, with that signature humility. And that makes sense, right? Some people panic about getting older, but Selleck, he just rolls with it, staying focused on the present, on his family, on the things that bring him joy. He even took the time to write his memoir, You Never Know. And get this, he wrote the entire thing by hand. Who even does that anymore? But that's just another example of how he does things his own way. He reflected a lot on his life in the book, sharing how he's proud of taking risks, even when they didn't always pan out. "Risk is the price you pay for opportunity itself," he said. And honestly, isn't that a great way to look at life? But perhaps the most beautiful thing about Selleck's life is his marriage to Jilly. Hollywood marriages don't exactly have the best track record, but these two have been together for 37 years, and that's no small feat. What's their secret? Mutual respect, independence, and a whole lot of laughter. Selleck has always said that friendship is at the heart of their relationship, and Jilly's sense of humor keeps things light and fun. He even admitted that their marriage probably wouldn't have lasted if he had been someone who just ate, slept, and worked without making time for his personal life. But Jilly, she's got an active spirit that keeps them both engaged in life beyond the screen. Today, Selleck remains the same guy people fell in love with decades ago. He's got that effortless coolness, that genuine kindness, and a work ethic that just won't quit. Whether he's celebrating his birthday with a Big Mac, planting trees on his ranch, or gearing up for another role, he does it all with grace, humility, and a quiet confidence that's become his trademark. And honestly, that's what makes him a true legend. Tom Selleck has always been a private man, but at 80 years old, he's finally breaking his silence on the rumors that have followed him for decades. From Hollywood feuds to personal struggles, he's telling his side of the story, and trust me, this revelation changes everything. Stick around to find out what he's been holding back all these years. Recent career changes? You know that feeling when you hear some news and for a split second you think, nah, that can't be true. But then reality sets in and it actually kinda stings. That's exactly how fans of Blue Bloods felt when CBS announced the show's cancellation in November 2023. And let's be honest, who saw that coming? I mean, Blue Bloods wasn't just another show. It was the show that ruled Friday nights for nearly 15 years. People built their routines around it, gathered around their screens like they were part of the Reagan family themselves. And suddenly, just like that, it was coming to an end. And if you think the fans were heartbroken, imagine how Tom Selleck felt. This was more than just a gig for him. It was a massive part of his life. So naturally, when CBS dropped the bombshell, he wasn't about to just sit back and say, "Oh, well, that's showbiz." Number Selleck had a plan. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Instead of just accepting the end as is, Selleck went to CBS with a pretty clever idea. Why not stretch out the final season a little bit? You know, make it more of a proper goodbye rather than an abrupt cutoff. He suggested adding 8 more episodes, which allowed the network to split the final season into 2 parts. 10 episodes in the spring and 8 in the fall. Smart, right? It gave the show the send-off it deserved while also making financial sense for CBS. And honestly, it was the least they could do, considering the show was still crushing it in the ratings. Like, seriously, Blue Bloods was the 6th highest rated show in the 2023 to 2024 season, if you take out football. Let that sink in. How do you cancel something that's still dominating? Frustrating doesn't even begin to cover it. And Selleck, yeah, he wasn't exactly thrilled about it either. "I'm kind of frustrated," he admitted. And who could blame him? But even with all that frustration, Selleck never lost his connection to Blue Bloods, especially to his character Frank Reagan. He loved playing Frank. It wasn't just a role for him, it was his role. So, when the final season rolled around, he stayed as dedicated as ever. And you know how sometimes actors start checking out mentally when they know a show is ending. Not Selleck. Even after filming wrapped, he found himself still preparing for Monday's lines, only to realize there were no more Mondays on set. That had to be a weird moment for him. After more than a decade of playing Frank, his brain was still wired for the job, even when it was already over. And let's talk about that final family dinner scene. If you've ever watched Blue Bloods, you know those dinner scenes were the heart and soul of the show. They weren't just about eating, they were about family, about connection, about the Reagan legacy. So, of course, the last one had to be special. It was actually the second to last scene they filmed, and when the director finally called wrap, the whole set just went silent. No one moved, no one spoke. It was like everyone was holding their breath, realizing this was it. And then Selleck did something beautiful. He read Love Is Not All by Edna St. Vincent Millay. This wasn't some random choice, by the way. That poem had meant something to him since his Magnum PI days. It was a personal, emotional moment, and honestly, if you weren't getting choked up by that point, I don't know what to tell you. The series finale itself, titled End of Tour, wrapped up multiple storylines while staying true to what made Blue Bloods special. And Selleck made sure people knew the show didn't go out with a whimper. "My biggest goal is to make sure people realize we went out in rather spectacular success," he said. And he's right. The show wasn't running on fumes, it wasn't getting stale. It was still strong, still meaningful. That's rare in TV, especially for a show that lasted this long. And CBS, well, let's just say they'll probably regret this decision down the road. Because, as Selleck pointed out, how often do you get a show that can guarantee you Friday night wins for 15 years? Almost never. And yet, they still pulled the plug. The final episode ended the way it had to, with one last Reagan family dinner. And Frank, his last words hit right in the feels. "You know, we've got a lot to be thankful for. And looking around this table, I gotta say, I couldn't be more proud or grateful." It wasn't just a line in the script. It was real. It was Selleck. It was the cast. It was the audience. Everyone feeling that bittersweet mix of pride, gratitude, and sadness all at once. And through it all, Selleck handled it like the pro he is. No bitterness, no resentment, just gratitude. "I don't believe in holding grudges," he said. And sure, letting go wasn't easy, but he wasn't going to let it taint what they had built. Because what they built was special. It wasn't just another police drama, it was a legacy. And the cast, Selleck put it best. "I'm proud to say nobody in this cast ever phoned a performance in. They gave it their all, every single time. And that's why Blue Bloods was so much more than just another show. It was a moment in TV history." So, yes, CBS may have called it quits on Blue Bloods, but let's be real, it's not a show that'll be forgotten anytime soon. Fans will keep watching, rewatching, and talking about it for years. And as for Selleck, who knows what's next for him? But one thing's for sure, his time as Frank Reagan, legendary. Hollywood's best-kept secrets don't stay hidden forever, and Tom Selleck just proved it. At 80, he's finally setting the record straight about the rumors that have followed him throughout his career. The truth is shocking, emotional, and not at all what people expected. What is he revealing after all these years? Stay tuned to find out. Daily life on the ranch. Tom Selleck's 65-acre ranch in Ventura County isn't just a home. It's his sanctuary, his escape from the chaos of Hollywood. and the place that keeps him balanced. He bought the property back in 1988, not as some flashy celebrity retreat, but as a real working ranch, a place where he could get his hands dirty and live life on his own terms. Mornings at the Selleck Ranch start before the sun even peeks over the hills. Tom wakes up early, earlier than his wife, Jilly, which, after 36 years of marriage, has become part of their unspoken rhythm. And he's not just rolling out of bed to lounge around. His first move? The tea kettle? He makes sure there's hot water ready for Jilly when she wakes up, a small but incredibly thoughtful gesture that speaks volumes about their relationship. It's these little things that keep a marriage strong, don't you think? Once the kettle's on, he moves into his own quiet time. He likes to ease into the day with the morning paper, because despite being a man of the land, he still keeps up with the world. And then, it's time to hop on his ATV and take a ride around the property. This isn't just for fun, though. Let's be honest. Cruising around a 65-acre ranch at dawn sounds like a pretty great way to start the day. No, this ride has a purpose. He checks on the wildflowers he's spent years planting. It's a project close to his heart, something he's nurtured over time. I've planted them for years, and they bloom in cycles, he explains. When it's coldest, one of them blooms, and then another one comes in. It's almost poetic, right? Like nature's way of keeping things moving season after season. But make no mistake, this is a working ranch, and there's no shortage of chores. Selleck may be a Hollywood legend, but out here, he's just another guy fixing fences, clearing brush, and taking care of the land. The ranch used to be a full-blown avocado farm, but a brutal drought wiped out a lot of the trees. Now, more than 1,500 native trees dot the property, all needing constant care. And guess who's doing a lot of that work? Yes, Tom himself. He calls it grunt work, but you can tell he wouldn't have it any other way. He's out there repairing roads, feeding the horses, and making sure everything runs smoothly. Because for him, sweating under the sun beats any gym workout. I hate going to the gym, he admits, so sweating outdoors sure beats sitting on a stationary bike staring at my navel. And let's be real, he's probably in better shape than a lot of people half his age just from the daily grind of ranch life. When we sum it all, we'll realize that this ranch is more than just land, it's his anchor. Hollywood is unpredictable. One day, you're on top of the world. The next, the industry moves on without you. But the land stays. The trees keep growing, the wildflowers keep blooming, and the chores never stop. That's why Selleck holds onto it so tightly. My relationships and my ranch keep me sane, he says. And as he slowly steps away from his long-running role on Blue Bloods, this place becomes even more important. It's not just where he lives, it's where he truly belongs. Professional goals. Now. Tom Selleck is not slowing down anytime soon, far from it. Even as Blue Bloods wraps up, the man still has that creative fire burning inside him, and he's looking ahead with all the excitement of a kid with a brand new toy. Retirement? Not a chance. Selleck isn't done telling stories, not by a long shot. He's got his eye on new opportunities, new characters, and new ways to bring his talent to the screen. And let's be real, who wouldn't want to see more of him? The guy's been a Hollywood staple for decades, and his fans aren't ready to say goodbye. Luckily, neither is he. So, what's next on his wish list? Oh, you already know, a good old-fashioned Western. If there's one thing Selleck loves, it's a cowboy hat, a horse, and a story that takes you back to the grit and glory of the Wild West. He's been in some great ones. From Quigley Down Under, to Crossfire Trail, to Monty Walsh, and now he's itching to do another. And here's an interesting insight. He's got his sights set on working with none other than Taylor Sheridan, the mastermind behind Yellowstone. Ever since Selleck saw what Sheridan did with Sam Elliott in 1883, something clicked. He thought, that's it. That's the kind of Western I want to be in. And honestly, who wouldn't want to see that? Sheridan's got that golden touch when it comes to storytelling, and Selleck, well, he was practically born to play these roles. Imagine those two teaming up. Now that's a Western people will be talking about for years. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Selleck isn't just about acting. He's got some serious skills behind the camera too. You might not hear about it as much, but he's been producing projects for years, and he's got a real eye for what makes a good story. Back in 2003, he was the executive producer for Monty Walsh, which, by the way, ended up being the highest-rated Friday night movie on basic cable. He's also had a hand in projects like The Closer, Crossfire Trail, and even the final seasons of Magnum P.I. So yeah, he's not just picking roles, he's shaping them. He's making sure that the stories he tells are worth telling. And speaking of stories, what about a Blue Blood spin-off? You'd think after playing Frank Reagan for so long, he might want to explore a new chapter in that universe, right? Well, not exactly. He's open to suggestions, sure, but no one's really asked him about it, and he's not the type to force something just because it's expected. Besides, there's something else that excites him more Jesse Stone movies. Now that's a project he could really sink his teeth into. When all is said and done, the world has realized that what really drives Selleck is quality storytelling. He's always been about taking risks, and not every single one has paid off, but the ones that did, they made all the difference. That's what keeps him going. The passion, the challenge, the thrill of bringing something meaningful to life. He's been in the game for decades, and yeah, time has brought its own challenges. But one thing hasn't changed: his love for the craft. He's still just as invested, still just as eager to step onto a set and create something special. So, if you thought Blue Blood's wrapping up meant the end of Selleck's Hollywood journey, think again. He's still got stories to tell, roles to play, and projects to bring to life. Whether it's a Western with Taylor Sheridan, a heartfelt comedy, another chapter in Jesse Stone's story, or even something completely unexpected, one thing's for sure: Tom Selleck isn't riding off into the sunset just yet, and honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way. With this, we have come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do well to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. To enjoy more thrilling stories, click now on the following video that pops up on your screen.